Indeed, James, there's not much really happening out here, I'm afraid. We would love to be having more entertaining things to show you than Egyptian geese honking and hissing across the dam wall of twin dams. But alas, this is what is going on. They sure do have a good waddle about them, don't they? Now the lapwings are joining in. Franklins as well. Nikki, how do you rate their model walk? Do you think they've done quite well? So we're going to ask Nikki, maybe all of you can help us rate the runway walk there of our Egyptian geese. Do they have good swagger? Are they showing off themselves as well as they could? So best out of 10, I would say. Yeah, a little booty moving, even a little chirpiness as they go down. So Nikki Austin wants to know about male and female Egyptian goose and how we tell the difference. Right, let's bring up the pictures and the sounds for you. Now give me 2 seconds so that I can find it, because the male and female have a different call, which is quite cool. Right, there we go. In terms of actually physical differences, very, very little. You will not actually see too much, whereas when it comes to their call, which is, hopefully I'm going to be able to find it. You've got the female, who is the one that's been making all the noise. Surprise, surprise. She's the one making the honking sound. And then the male does a hissing sound. So I'm going to try and play it. Hopefully it's going to work. Jandre, let me know if you can hear it. So that's the female. And then you hear the male. So the female is the honking and the male is the hissing. It's very difficult to hear the male in that particular recording though. But in terms of their actual look, I'm going to try and see. You actually can't really tell male and female apart. They are essentially the same. There's no dimorphism in the males or the females. They both have the same eyes. They'll have the same beak, legs, color, and even the feathers on the body are very much the same. So the only way to sex them really is by their call with any accuracy whatsoever. But they are very good-looking birds. The problem is that they're the scourge of sort of any waterway in South Africa or in the world at the moment, because they're starting to kind of find themselves all over the place, and they seem to just take over, and it seems as though they're doing a lot of damage to a lot of our indigenous, or maybe not indigenous, but a lot of our smaller duck species, seeing far less of them than we used to, because the Egyptian geese are taking over in terms of their places that they breed, nesting sites, and also just, competition around the water point. These guys often are quite big bullies, and they'll chase everybody away. Good. Right, where to from here is the question. There's absolutely nothing happening on Chitwa, apparently. I did ask. The guys say there is 0 tracks, 0 signs, 0 anything that side. In fact, the whole eastern side is very quiet. There is tracks for a leopard on Little Gowrie, and that's it so far this morning. So I'm just trying to think, where should I go? I think I might head towards sort of Leadwood, try and check that southern corner of Chitwa, and maybe Little Hosana is somewhere around our side. I can't say Little anymore. He's gotten so big these days. You can't really call him the Little Prince. He's going to have to be the Medium Prince from now on, unfortunately, because he's getting bigger and bigger by the day. Now, sorry, Nikki, I don't know what's going on with these comms today. It's just a bit of an issue. So a lot of you are giving 9 and 10 out of 10. Well done, lady. There you go. You got a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Not bad. I just feel like they went the wrong way. If they were really going to get a 10 out of 10, they would have had to come towards us, facing us, and we would have had to get a little pirouette and a little kind of look over the shoulder. Then we would have given a 10 out of 10. So I'm going to give them an 8. I feel like they did do a good waddle, and there was good sort of synchronicity between the two of them, but not enough showboating to make a 10 out of 10, I'm afraid. Now, somebody who would be able to probably do a 10 out of 10 is both Steve and James, so we'll have to maybe ask James to show us his ramp walk just now, but in the meantime, let's send you across to Steve.
I'd love to see James do a ramp walk later. What we do have is a bird doing a ramp walk on a mammal. And you know me, ladies and gentlemen, I do enjoy my birds. So we have got a red-billed oxpecker who is modelling beautifully on the back of this female kudu with her big ears. And she seems to be alone. We have not seen another one with her. Well, I suppose she's got her friend modelling on her neck, running up and down on the fur with those zygodactyl feet. If you've never heard that term before, that means they have 2 toes forward and 2 toes back, which enables them to cling very nicely to the fur itself. Quite sharp claws as they comb through the kudu's fur in the never-ending search for ticks. So when you see a kudu's head down like that, most people think, oh my word, the kudu is grazing. But in fact, what it's probably doing is feeding on small flowers and forbs that are growing in the long grass there, rather than actually feeding on grass. And she's super relaxed for an individual that seems to be on her own. Maybe she knows that the alarm call that the oxpecker will give off at the sight of danger will be enough to alert her to anything pressing. Definitely one of the most attractive antelope out, the kudu. And we're not far away from the area where we had the unkuhumas the other night killing a youngster. So maybe it was her youngster that has since departed, and that is why she is all alone. But it's not common to see kudu solitary. Catbrag, there are indeed. There are lots of oxen. Oxen were quite instrumental in the Great Trek and in the movement of ox wagons, as the name implies, from the Cape up into the interior. And most of South Africa was actually colonized by the use of oxen. I don't know to what extent we have oxen around these days when it comes to working. I think machines might have taken over a lot of the work that oxen used to do. But in the foundation and formation of what we would call civilized Southern Africa, the ox wagon and the ox were instrumental in those developments. They were halted coming into and around the Kruger National Park and the Lowveld due to the tsetse fly, which occurred in vast numbers in and around the Mopani belts, all the way from Louis Trichardt, which is about 3-4 hours north of Johannesburg, up to Zimbabwe and all the way across through sort of central Kruger. It was what we call the Mopani belt, and the tsetse fly predominated those areas. And anyone who tried to move into the areas with oxen, dragging their ox wagons or cattle or any form of horse, didn't do very well, and they had to then carry their stuff in by hand or on their own backs. So oxen didn't do very well when it came to the sleeping sickness transferred by the tsetse flies, and a lot of people fell victim to that as well. And it actually goes to the story of how they tried to domesticate a zebra to form or to replace the role of the oxen in the ox wagon drawing of the carts, and the zebra did not do very well at all. They've got no domestication gene in them at all, and there's photos in museums I've seen of the ox wagon and about 10 or so zebra in the traces, and each zebra is facing a different direction. They were not designed for pulling carts, and it thankfully, because of all what I spoke about there, it alleviated or prevented white South Africans or settlers moving into these northeastern regions and farming agriculturally, and it is what led to these areas becoming national parks, because we weren't able to grow food here or move in here with any agricultural purpose, so it was left alone. And then one day in the 1920s we said, well, let's call it a national park, and we're almost 100 years later, or more than that the park has sort of been in existence. But marvelous that a small little insect that bit things, prevented us from colonizing and turning it all into an agricultural fjordland. So very glad about that whole story. As that kudu disappears into the bushes, we are going to move on. Shan, oxpeckers do not stay with the animals at night. They will actually from time to time pluck the fur off of the back of animals and then use it to line their nests. They live in excavated hole cavities in trees, either natural holes or old starling woodpecker type of holes, and they'll line it with a very nice down hair type of mattress from the animals that they feast on. And then often found quite near and close to water in the morning as they sort of wake up and wait for the animals to materialize, or they'll fly off in search of animals in the vegetation. And you can actually see them. The oxpeckers fly with this sort of drunken sort of flight, and they'll suddenly go into a bush and land, and then you can be certain that there is some animal there, some blood-filled animal. Depending on which oxpecker is landing, sometimes you can actually almost guess which animal it might be. So we were hoping to see a lot more birds this morning from our really productive earlier sighting with all of those birds feeding on termites or ants. We haven't seen too much since then in the way of birds, but we are ever searching. We're on our far eastern boundary, that road called Drakensberg that runs along sort of south along the eastern side. Okay, so let's go over to someone who's got some action in the tent, James Hendry.
Action, action, action happening in the tent. Not sure where that came from. Anyway, there's the spider. I've tried to find this thing in the book and I cannot find it. I don't know what it is. But now you can see it's setting to its breakfast. Oh, it was. I wonder if it isn't some sort of crab spider, perhaps. Back now, very indecisive crab spider. Now, it's not going to get through the top of the carapace there. So let's watch and see. Now, I need to sit as still as possible. Ooh, you know what I don't know if you caught a little glimpse there, but this spider has got absolutely massive fangs. Let's just watch carefully, because when it turns its head again, you might just be able to see the fangs. There they are. It's quite difficult to tell. Sorry, everybody. Every time it moves slightly down or up, it goes completely out of focus because we're quite close in on him. Nikki says she likes its black shoes. I quite like its blazer of black and of sort of cream and black. There's the underside. There are the fangs. You see those two black things in front? Where its two little pedipalps are now sort of there. Look at the fangs. Oh my goodness. You see them? Those are massive. This is very cool. Now going for the softer underbelly. It's not very soft there. They're certainly softer. You can also see the spinnerets at the bottom of the spider, and they're not producing any silk at the moment. That's that sort of thing that looks like I guess a bottom at the end of the abdomen, and that's where it would produce its silk from. But there's been no silk is being produced, but she's producing. She's sort of, I'm not sure what she's doing the other side there. I'm going to take her out and try and turn her around. Well, Wisteria, let's have a look. You say, how's the spider going to get the cavity open? I've turned her around. She's now having at the bottom of her beetle. Oh no, now she's got a fright. She's going back up the web. No, back again. Here we are. I think this is a crab spider of some description. That is spectacular. Now, let's see if she's making a few repairs, maybe. So, just for those of you who don't know, I mean, she will stick her fangs into an insect, and that will basically liquidize the insect's insides. Lots of enzymes, digestive enzymes in the venom. And then she'll come and suck it dry and leave the husk. So she may well have eaten already what's inside the carapace of that beetle, all of its organs liquidized. Or she may be waiting for the insides to liquidize before she actually goes and sucks it all out. Doing a little bit of repairs now. Tim, you want to know, do spiders poop? Yes, I imagine they do. They're predators, which means they eat sort of animal life. Well, I mean, in theory, an elephant is a predator. It preys on bushes. But they are predators of meat, basically, insects and other arachnids, and sometimes something really large like birds. Some spiders eat birds. And that means that they eat very concentrated, what do they call it, tertiary nutrients, is it? Do you have primary being grass, then a herbivore would be secondary, and, these guys eat secondary nutrients. So they eat herbivores and possibly even other carnivores, and that means that the concentrated nutrients that they eat contain a lot of toxins that they will have to get rid of. And so, yes, I'm pretty sure that they make the poo-poo from time to time. Magnificent. How very special to be viewing a spider like this. You can see on the abdomen now its hairs and the little chocolate brown stripes. And I think now maybe she's sucking down. Okay, let me try and get a bit closer. Nikki, this is going to go out of focus while I get down here. Okay. There we go. So she's found a way in. I think she's now sucking this thing dry. I think the insides have sufficiently liquidized, and now she's sucking it dry. It's like a smoothie for breakfast. Yes, like a milkshake, but more a health smoothie, flesh smoothie. Can you imagine, VM, having a tripe smoothie? Do you think that would be delicious? You know, you take the chicken giblets and put them all in a nice smoothie.
And you pre-digest it.
Yeah. With a bit of yogurt or something. Nicola just giving me a compliment there, saying that I'm the best at finding focus with a microscope. That's very kind, Nicola. I suspect it's got to do with the amount of time that I've spent in this tent. Oh, it has got the most enormous fangs. Oh, look at the fangs now. Oh, and now it just surely can't be a tongue coming out, can it? I can see what Nikki means about the shoes. She's got sort of quite high-heeled boots. High-heeled black boots on. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I can brighten this picture up at all. But as Nikki says, she needs a bit of a shave. She does, yes. She needs to go to the salon. I'm just going to try and brighten this picture. It's going to blow out all the white colors, but we are missing what's going on with the black there. Exposure. Oh, no. Should be okay. Hang on. No. Sorry, everybody. I know I'm not looking you in the eye. It's very rude of me, but I need to do this properly. Let's do this. There. All right, so I know that the white colors are very blown out, but what we're trying to see there is what's going on where the fangs are making contact with the beetle. You see them moving there. You can just see them moving slightly there. Try and twist it very slightly. There we go. Something being devoured inside there. And yes, Nikki says it looks moist in there. It certainly does. There are the eyes you can see on top of the spider's head. Anybody got any idea what spider this is? Look at the fangs. Oh, those are vicious. Huh. All right, I'm going to leave the spider doing exactly what it's doing. I think we're going to keep it under the microscope here. While we do this, we'll let it continue doing its feeding. Let's go back to Tristan, who has got a running chicken.
Well, this running chicken is conserving its energy for the race later in the day because it's standing dead still. There we go. There it goes. Good call, James. Well done. How did you know? See, James has even got the ability to predict the future. Such as a magician he is in the tent, that he has now predicted what is going to happen with our Franklin that ran away. Anyway, there was another one here which also ran before you guys got to us, which is okay. Now, we're going to carry on and see. I think we're going to go stop in at Steve's Impala carcass just to see, now that the rain has kind of subsided, maybe, just maybe, there's some vulture activity or some hyena activity or something going on there. You never know. Might be quite good to just go and have a little look. The cloud has lifted a bit. It's not really raining, so it's a good place to go. We have got no other sort of leads to follow up on, and so we might as well go and have a little look there. You never know. Maybe Tundi has managed to get in there and sneak it off and pull it into a tree, or Tingana. Tingana's a master of being in the right place at the right time when it comes to dead animals, and so you never know. Maybe, just maybe, we get lucky. What's nice though is that it stopped raining. That horrible, dreary, misty nonsense that we've had all morning is now lifting, so it actually feels a lot more comfortable to be out here, that's for sure. Now, I believe we've been talking about Egyptian geese at Buffelshoek Dam and at Twin Dams, and Steve tells me that the ones at Chitwa have the best model walk, so let's send you across to him to see how they are posing this morning.
They do, and shortly we will find them for you, but in the meantime, before it darts away, sorry about that, we have found ourselves the resident darter, also known as the slangvoël, the snake bird, or as Taylor McCurdy likes to call it, the Loch Ness monster. It is sitting perched quite delicately on the end of the branch with its very long rudder-like tail, and it is motionless at the moment, probably not enjoying the cold weather, because these birds, to be able to fly, sorry about that, to be able to fly, they need to be able to dry themselves sufficiently, because they don't have the preen oil on them as the other birds have, and the preen oil adds buoyancy. So they don't want the buoyancy. They want to be quite sort of sleek and unbuoyant, so as to swim under the water in their search of fish. And he's poised just above a wonderful pod of hippos, who are also having a little bit of a catwalk dance, or should I say the oxpeckers. If we just have a look at that hippo on the right there, Ferg, we've got a couple oxpeckers busy enjoying the treats the hippo has to offer, whether it be ticks itself or the wounds that you quite often find exposed on the hippo's backs. Because as we know, it's not necessarily the ticks that the oxpeckers are looking for, but the blood within the ticks that they are looking for. Some guinea fowl alarm calling up ahead there, Fergie. I think we're going to go check that out, then we'll come back to the dam. There's some alarm calls happening just over there. We're down at Chitwa Dam, as Tristan said. So let's move across there and see if we can find these alarming birds. Guinea fowl in the afternoon when they make that call is very unreliable in my opinion, because that's their come together sort of call. But when they're making that in the middle of the daytime, to me, as Fergus just wipes the lens clean there, we do have this very annoying sort of rain that's just dripping in and just touching the lens. So let's see. We did see some guinea fowl up there, but these calls were coming from this side, the northern side of the dam. Sorry, Nix, I just heard heather and activity of animals. I didn't quite get your question there. If you could repeat for me, please. Oh, yes. Heather, does the weather affect activity? Most certainly it does. When it is cold and cool, animals don't dehydrate or heat up as much. So quite often what will happen is there's no need for them to really do the vast distance traveling to water to cool down and to quench their thirst. Also, because there's moisture all around, the animals don't need to go far for water because water's nearby. And when it's raining, some animals just like to sort of crouch there and just avoid getting as wet as possible for a period of time. And we definitely find predators or territorial animals, including rhino. Just see if we can hear these birds. They're just in front here. Territorial animals such as leopards, rhino, lion will re-scent mark their territories after rain, because the rain washes away the chemical cues that they put in. So they will always go and re-scent mark. So that's definitely something that will happen. Okay, so if we can see them, let's just go up a little bit more. Some francolin there as well who are not alarm calling. Just in front of Chitwa Lodge. There's a squirrel alarm calling. Sorry about the pole. I am obviously always very good at positioning Ferg very badly with this pole. Okay. There we go. There's a leopard in the lodge there. That's Tingana. Going up into the room, folks. Look at that. That is room 11 of Chitwa Lodge. Tingana pays a bed night rate. He gets it for free, in fact. And he gets to eat and dine and drink at leisure. Many guests as he wants. Nikki's saying it could be Hosana. Nix is very good at her ID. Fantastic. So you see how important it is to listen to the birds, folks. Now he's walking around the back of the room there. I don't know how we're going to find him again. Maybe we can get around on the other side. But I said to Ferg a moment ago, we're coming down to Chitwa. We're going to find ourselves a leopard. And look at that, Fergus. Not even 5 minutes later. I think it is indeed the little prince, the little chief. What a marvelous visual. It didn't. It didn't have a big dewlap next to say, and he almost had a really nice golden color. When we've seen Tingana of late, to me he looks a little bit more washed than Hosana, who seems to have like the unwashed sort of version. A lot more golden color. I have no idea if we can actually get around there. Maybe we'll come around onto the road and see. Maybe he'll come out and have a look. Fergus, good job. So my opinion is that call of the guinea fowls, you can hear it now. Or they're going to stop. They're going to stop now, of course. The leopard is gone. Yeah, there are no guests in the room there that we could see. I wasn't trying to look at them, but they're probably out on game drive looking for a spotted cat, and there's one busy trying to look at them through the window.
They maybe left the TV on Animal Planet.
Ferg says they probably left the TV on National Geographic, or they are watching Safari Live. He was watching himself there for a moment. How marvelous, marvelous. So guinea fowl, in my opinion, in the mornings or in the daytime, that cackling call, very, very reliable for a predator. When you hear it late afternoon, it's they're trying to get them back together sort of call. So not so reliable, I find, sort of as the sun is setting. But I've found many a lion and a leopard. Here he is. Woo! Woo! Sorry, Molly, I'll come back to your question now. We have found him. He is in the road, and it is indeed the little chief. Hello, my boy. I'm just going to call it in on the radio, folks, because everyone is obviously very excited to find an animal this morning. Oh, hello, my young sir. Good morning. Good morning. Have you just woken up? So I'm just going to let people know that I found him, because I think people are struggling to find cats this morning. If I can get a gap on the radio, people are having a nice chat. We'll stay with him? Yes?
Yes.
Shall we?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, there we go. It's always Ferg and myself. Good vibes, and you are rewarded with good vibes. We have found our cat. I think viewers are getting a little bit nervous there. We won't find a leopard today, but never fear. Fergus and I are on it. I'm just going to use the radio now for a moment, folks, if you do forgive me. Station is located Hosana Mobile North west, away from room 11 on Chitwa. He's just sort of north of the power lines. Whew, very exciting. Now I wait to hear how many people are going to come running and shouting in my ear. Okay, well, let's go back over to Tristan, who apparently is with my Impala.
Well, I'm not quite with your Impala just yet, Steve. I'm getting to that point. I'm not actually even sure where it is. I surmise it's somewhere on the end of the dam wall here, according to what Steve said, somewhere on the left. But I haven't seen anything yet. I wonder if it's not been dragged away by something. See anything, Jean-Andre? Me neither. Now, I have no idea where Steve actually saw it, but from what I gathered, it was close to the dam wall. Interesting. Apparently it was... I see tracks going in there. Hold on. There we go. It must be this side, Jean-Andre. I see vehicle tracks over here. Okay, so we were looking in the wrong place. I was thinking that it was down towards this side of the dam. But I'm sure then not very much has come down. There's no vultures, which I'm surprised about. I would have thought, oh, there it is. You see it there, Jandre. So nothing actually has come down to feed on it just yet. It's actually in quite a nice place for the dam cam itself, for everyone to watch what goes on with that impala, but it's still sitting there. I would have thought now with a bit of the rain kind of coming up and lifting that we might have a situation where something would have come, but still seems as though not much is happening at our dead impala. Right, well, while we kind of figure where we're going to go from here, let's send you back across to Steve with Hosana.
Thank you very much, Tristan. I wonder if that impala is officially cold now. But something that is not cold is this beautiful young male leopard. My favorite character in Djuma, even though we are in Chitwa at the moment. He's doing the typical leopard activity now of standing on a termite mound, listening. I don't know if he's physically seen anything or if he's maybe heard something there. But he's definitely interested in something. But I think he's going to play the patience game. Look at that. Isn't that marvelous? He's really enjoying his time in and around Chitwa. Sharon, if Hosana had approached, I'm just going to move up, Ferg, onto the side. Is that okay? If guests had been in the lodge themselves, he probably wouldn't have come as close to the door. And if they were and had a look at him out the window, nothing, absolutely nothing would have happened. This cat is quite a relaxed cat when it comes to people. How's that, Ferg? They would have had an experience of a lifetime, is what they would have had. I mean, he's not out to hunt people. It's not what he's looking for. I think he might have even seen his reflection in the mirror. Who knows? Or in the window. Or maybe, as Ferg said, they were in fact watching National Geographic or Safari Live. And he saw mention of himself. Maybe he could hear the guinea fowl alarm calling live on the TV screen and thought they were inside. Who knows what's going through the cat's mind? But he's definitely alert. You can see the posturing. There are always impala and small animals in and around Chitwa Dam. We're not far from the dam itself right now, probably about half a mile at the most, not even, I'd say less than that. I can just hear the hippo in the background. Victoria, the ticks most certainly will bother them. They bother me as well. You get very itchy after a tick bite, and if they do come across a tick, they're able to grab it or pinch it out, then they will do so. But they're not able to get all of them. Some of them get quite sort of embedded or lodged in the head or in areas where they can't really get too much access. You can see one on the back of the ear, and what it leads to is just very, very itchy sort of areas that they have to scratch. Most animals out here are perpetually scratching themselves. Buffalo love to find a branch to scratch. We've had a giraffe also climbing over small bushes to sort of scratch their undercarriage where the tick infestation seemed to be at the worst. And if you've ever had a tick bite, you'll know that it is ridiculously itchy, and it's itchy for about 2 weeks. Sort of a bad mosquito bite that doesn't stop itching. But, you know, you learn to live with it. It just becomes sort of part and parcel with living out here. Ryan leopards will groom themselves quite regularly. I mean, after they've had a kill or fed, they will clean themselves. After there's been some rain, they'll probably clean themselves. Whenever they're sort of in periods of inactivity, when they may be lying down, having a rest, maybe just before having a bit of a nap, or maybe before moving off. Excuse me, I'm being called. Standing by. Yeah, just by the power lines from room 11. I think it's just before the turn off to the drainage that takes you onto Shorombe Road. Just north of that. Yeah, he's currently stationary on a termite mound. I am visible from the road. I've got the power lines just sort of to the left of me on my southern side. Okay. Okay, copy. Obviously, someone's very interested to come and join, and it's the benefit of having the radio is that you're able to communicate sightings like this, because to come across the road now and to suddenly see him would be nearly impossible. But we were given our own radio call by the guinea fowls, as you remember. They cackled and chawed and gave a noise, and that told us what we were looking for. And those are the important signs of the bush to learn and listen to. The training that I did for level 1s and for Trails Guide, it's very important to understand alarm calls. All sorts of alarm calls are very important, and the students get tested on them all the time. They have to actually do a formal written exam on hearing an alarm call and being able to identify what it is. Because if you don't know what it is, then it's basically just a noise that means nothing to you. But as you see now, look at what we found just by hearing the cackling of a guinea fowl. So marvelous, and I'm sure you see Tristan, Taylor, Brent, James, all of us quite often finding animals by the alarm calls of all sorts of birds. Just off to your northern side right now. Okay, so a vehicle from Arathusa is coming to join us. He's going to try and get in here without making too much noise, but the little chief is up to having another visitor. See, there's where a tick would have been, so very itchy. So I believe Mr. Henry is in the tent. He's going to do some modeling like Hosana here. Let's see how he does it.
I found myself a very beautiful insect outside. What do you think, Vim?
Yeah, I'll definitely buy that jacket.
Shut up, Nicola. Right. Our spider is still under the microscope. Ooh, that's a bit bright. How bright is it on your side, Nicola? Okay, too bright. I had specially changed the exposure. Let me go back. Oh, yeah. Okay, try now next. There we go. That's a bit dark now. It is back to sleep again. Okay, right, so that was the spider, and we had some comment that you thought it might be a long-legged sack spider. I don't think it is, simply because I don't think its legs are long enough, but it could easily be a sack spider, so maybe that's what it is, some kind of sack spider. Again, there'll be so many different kinds of species, so thank you very much for contributing there. And what I have in my hand is a weevil. How cool is this weevil? I love weevils. They're almost sort of iridescent colors always. Ooh, sorry. There we go. On my hand. Just stunning colors. Look at that. Turquoise. Almost. Yes, I'm focusing, Nicola. It's on my hand. It's not easy. Doesn't like my model walk. Doesn't like my operation. Oh, it is just beautiful.
That little thumb there.
Little what?
A thumb.
A thumb. It has got a little thumb there, yes. Liam says it's got a little thumb. I think it looks like a bush baby's hand, you know, with that extra long finger. Kirsten, who's also sitting in final control, says it's pulling a zap sign. In other words, it is shooting you the bird, everybody. And it's very rude of this nasty weevil to shoot you the bird. I'm sorry about that. You will not do that again. These good people are the whole reason we do this. Go outside, you foul and rude weevil. KB, I missed your question. Sorry, can I have it again? I could read it. A golden silk orb whatty? Weaver. A golden silk orb weaver, the spider. No, it's not an orb spider. Or not an orb web spider. Sushan, a dotted wolf spider. Okay, well, it could be. Let me put it back underneath the microscope, and then I will have a look in the book here. I couldn't find anything that looked like it. Golden wolf spider. I think sack spider's our closest bet so far. Let me just try and get him back underneath here. I'm really making a hash of us now. There's going to be great complaint from the final control very shortly. There we go. Okay. A golden wolf spider. Let me look under W for wolf. Wolf spiders, yes, many wolf spiders. I wouldn't have said it was a wolf spider. I think they're largely ground-dwelling of the wolf spiders. But I will tell you whether that is in fact true or a lie. No. Why are they not there? I believe he's moving back to his kill now, the spider. Good stuff. Excellent. No, not a wolf spider, I don't think. I'm going to go with a sack spider of some description and leave it at that, if that's okay. Good. Marvellous. Okay. There's the book. Let's have one last look over here. Okay, I think I'm probably going to return this. No, we'll keep the spider to the end of the drive. But while I see what he or she or it does, let's go back to the luxury living Hosana.
Thank you. Here he comes. He's coming right towards me. He wants to come and say hello to all of you viewers back home. Hello, my beautiful boy. Isn't he a magnificent specimen of a leopard? Absolutely gorgeous. He's been moving and jumping on logs, and he's definitely in search of something. He's definitely looking. Apologies for anything at the back of our vehicle now, but the various things in the way. But there he is moving. Seems to be smelling and picking up any sort of scent on the ground. We're not sure what he might be smelling, but we'll keep with him because the wind is quite low. There's not too much in the way of air movement to indicate the presence of any herbivore animals or prey animals nearby. As we try and navigate around this beautiful big termite mound. And we have our roof on, so it does sometimes make some of these off-road excursions a little bit tricky. But no injuries of yet, but we are about to bypass a very nice buffalo thorn, and Ferg is now looking at me with wide eyes. Are you going to manage, Ferg? Are we going to manage? Are you sure? Okay, we are going to manage. No, I don't think we are, Ferg. That is going to be a bit of a nightmare going through there. So we might go around the other way and navigate the knob thorn instead, because that buffalo thorn is going to make us wait a little bit. The Afrikaans name is Wag a bietjie. Okay, well, it seems like Tristan's got alarm calls of his own, so let's go over to him.
Sun's coming up.
So we've got alarm calls of an impala, two of them that have been shouting in this thicket, which is where Thandi loves to spend time. So I'm just trying to see if I can find the impalas. They've gone quiet now. We were to try and do a big loop round to get to where they were, but they sounded like they were shouting from very close to where we are now. And we know that Tundi's been in this area and was seen, and so I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, she's somewhere here. If I can just find the impala, then hopefully I can find her. But so far I can't find the impalas either on the little track that I've taken. So I'm trying to work out where else it could be, but I feel like we're going off track a little bit now. Where are you, impalas? Come on, show yourselves. It sounded like in the drainage line, right where we were. Now there's I don't know, it's going to be difficult, I think, just trying to kind of establish exactly where they were without finding them and hearing maybe another snort. So while I try and kind of figure it out, let's send you back across to Steve with Hosana, and hopefully we'll have a spotted cat of our own shortly.
Tristan, I hope you managed to find whatever it is that's causing the alarm calls in the drainage depression there. You are an expert finder of leopards, but this morning Ferg and I have trumped you, and we have found the little chief who is moseying along. You can see there's definitely interest in his eyes. He's probably quite hungry. He doesn't look like he's eaten. His belly doesn't look full, but he's also sniffing. He's sniffing quite deliberately. Or maybe he's trying to track a steenbok or a duiker through the vegetation here. They do sort of have a scent to them, and they'll quite often use very similar pathways, and maybe he's learnt that. And he's learnt that if he just sticks his nose to the ground and follows these small little pathways that the duiker use, he might be lucky. He's right in front of the car there, folks. He's just done a little bit of a bolt to get past the front, but completely relaxed, as you can see over my shoulder there. What a marvelous specimen. You can see how his nose is to the ground. He's definitely smelling. And now is he having a toilet stop there? It looks like he might be. He's having a little listen as well. Let's just listen and see if we can hear what he's hearing. Okay, so there's not too much in the way of noises nearby. So now he's going to go back to his nostrils. What are you smelling, my boy? Potty time for Hosana. I mean, I'm also thinking he might be trying to ferret out a scrub hare, because he's been sticking his nose into lots of little bushes. As James was showing you last night how camouflaged the hares are. If they don't move, they're invisible. So you probably smell one. Romit, leopard and his whiskers are so important for how far away they move, and I know that. What have you got there?
He's doing another poop.
Oh, he's having another toilet stop. Is he scent marking there, Ferg?
Sure, it does look like
Looks like he's scratching his back legs. What a naughty young fellow. But he might be getting comfortable, Nick says. Well, let's move up. Gromit, you want to know about whiskers and leopards? Will it make a difference? What I know with domestic cats is that the whiskers actually enable them to know exactly how narrow a gap is, and it gives them all sorts of sensory cues when they're moving at night with regards to just all sorts of things we can't even probably put our finger on, most of them. I think that the whiskers in leopards are very, very important, instrumental, in fact, in a lot of what they do. They've got the scent smell, but the whiskers, they give them a sort of a sense of space and what they can. Ferg, you've got a praying mantis attacking you on the camera. Have you noticed that? Wow, look at this little guy. Come here, fella. Okay, we'll leave him. He's enjoying the fluffy speaker bit on top of the camera. Oh, he's the focus puller. Ferg is praying for better luck this morning? So, Gromit, I'm pretty sure that the whiskers, if the leopard lost his whiskers, it would make a huge difference. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the other purposes of whiskers. I know domestic cats, the whiskers enable them they know exactly what size gap they're going through. They're quite sensitive to all sorts of things out there that I don't even think we quite understand. You know, there are fish that's like a barbel, or what we call them catfish, that have also got whiskers and enables them to see through the dark and to filter through the dark in the muddy waters underneath. That enables them to hunt and to find whatever it is they're looking for. Navigation, a lot of birds at night, birds like nightjars. Okay, Hosana, you're going to show us a very nice view of yourself up on top. Oh, he's got his ears flat, folks. Just going to switch off right here and see what it is he spotted. I'll come back to more questions there. Sorry about the power lines in the back there. That is the electricity point for Chitwa. Get a nice vantage point when they get on a termite mound like this. Now, I can't see anything, Ferg, can you? David, that's a very good question. I think Hosana, if he came across another young leopard, would most likely stand his ground. I think we've seen it with Tumba, where he actually fought him. It's all about size. He sees the other male and he thinks he's got a similar sort of size to him, or maybe a little bit bigger, then he'll definitely stand his ground. But as soon as he sees a bigger male, he will act submissive and act as if he has not seen, or pretend that he's not trying to invade or to be any sort of nuisance. I can't see anything, but he's definitely got intention for the moment. So I'm not going to move, folks, until he changes his behavior, so as not to give away his presence or to startle whatever it is he might be looking at. Oh, he's looking left and right now. I don't think he's seen anything. He's looking for movement, though. You know, we talk about the eyes of cats and how they see black and white. They see shapes as well. Primarily what they see is shapes. They get a search image, and that's why a lot of the animals' behavior out here, the prey animals, is to stand very still with all sorts of disruptive patterns and colors and markings and fur on their body, which breaks up their outline. And he's looking into the distance. The wind is gently coming from that way, so maybe he can smell something, but he hasn't quite seen it yet. Okay, there we go. He's hunkering down for a more relaxed pose. So now we can go forward and get a nice shot of him without the power lines behind, which I do humbly apologize for. Should we just get in front of him there, Ferg? You tell me when you're happy with your position. Get the stick out of his nose. Okay. How's that? There we go. That is the prettiest view we're going to have of Hosana this morning. We've still given him enough space to look over the back of us at whatever it is he might have been looking at, but he is not as intensely looking as he was before. So maybe he can smell something in that area, and the patience of the predatory stalking cat is he's going to wait on his vantage point, as we've seen Shadulu do, and when they spot something from this height, then make a move into the long grass and begin the stalk. Beautiful cat. Some signal grass around his head. I think Hosana just couldn't help but steal the show today. James is doing a marvelous attempt at dominating the show this morning, which we absolutely so thankful for, because the content out in the bush has been very quiet today, as is a normal day when it's windy and overcast. But Hosana couldn't help but pop back in
That's a shot.
Okay. So we're going to leave Hosana here, sitting on top of his mount. We're going to go back over to James Henry, and from us it's a good morning.
Well, what we have here is a spider in a, what is it in, Wim? A web. Very good. Of course, now for those of you who don't know, we've been nominated for 3 awards in the Webby Awards, which I'm told are the equivalent of the Oscars or the Emmys for the webs, except, of course, they are interactive, which means you get to vote for them. So please, if you would like to vote for us in our categories, go across to our Facebook page, and there you will find a link to the Webbies, and there you should tell all of your friends, family, random strangers in the street, whoever you like, to vote for us as often as it is possible. Please, thank you. Good. Okay. That's the end of our spider story. The other thing I had to tell you was, yes, we're going to have another look at the Dive Live promo at the end of the show. That'll tell you all about what Dive Live is, how you can get involved if you would like to. If you would like to go under the sea, and the rest of that song. I don't think they sing it actually in the promo at all. No, they don't. Okay, good. Let's get back to the spider for a little bit. Otherwise, people are going to have to stare at my mug for the last few minutes. Or last few seconds. He's gone to sleep, or she's gone to sleep, what we have assumed to be our sack spider. And I'm going to take her outside and put her down. In fact, we can do that right now. Let's do that. Oh, no, we can't. We have to keep it there, because while the credits roll, we have to keep the picture steady. So, thank you, everybody, for joining us on this morning safari. We will see you this afternoon. Please join us then. It will be a lot of fun. Goodbye.